why is there so much fuss about the app Rednote? Well, it's being seen as an alternative to TikTok. Rednote does look very similar to TikTok. Lots of pet videos, cooking tips, fitness tips, makeup, health, beauty, and food. One of the big differences, however, is that the writing is in Chinese. Now, I signed up this morning. That's my default setting, and my default picture looks like a piece of broccoli. It's a Chinese-owned app, and many American TikTok users and influencers and content creators are moving over to this app because it looks like TikTok could be banned in the US in the coming days. Now, they're calling themselves American refugees, and many of the American users that have moved over to Rednote are doing it as a protest to highlight their dissatisfaction with the US government's ban of TikTok. But it's a huge app in countries right around the world, one of the most downloaded in countries, including here in Ireland. But I suppose the big question is, because it is a Chinese-owned app, if it becomes as popular and as big as TikTok in the US, will it also face a ban?
Big news coming out of America as TikTok refugees are flocking to the Chinese app Rednote, aka Xiaohongshu, amid the US ban threat. So the Chinese app Rednote, also known as Xiaohongshu, has seen an influx of over 700,000 TikTok refugees from the US, driven by a potential TikTok ban. While many Chinese users welcomed the newcomers with messages and cultural exchanges, some expressed concerns over American influence on the platform. Rednote, which doesn't require a Chinese phone number, offers rare opportunities for US-China interactions. However, nationalist bloggers warned against foreign propaganda, and some users tested censorship limits, encountering restrictions on sensitive topics. Surprise, surprise. Analysts believe the trend may be short-lived, with Rednote working to moderate English content and improve translation tools.
5 fucking years. 5 fucking years I gave them bitches. 5 years. Endless nights. Endless scrolling. But I gotta leave? January 19th, I gotta leave? I'm not leaving. No, I'm not leaving. No. Do you know the blood, sweat, and tears it took me to build this fucking For You page? Huh? Y'all talking about some Rednote lemonade. Fuck the lemons. Whew, let me calm down.
This is for the US government and US government only, all 3 branches and all subsets. You dumb fucking bitch. Look what you've done. You relied so heavily on your xenophobia, your backwards argument, that you have now forced the American people to do exactly what you didn't want them to do, allegedly. The American people are now linking their phone numbers to this app. They're linking their email addresses to this app. And that they're doing it at their own free will. They're not letting Meta sell it. They're not letting Instagram sell it. People are willing to learn Mandarin for this app. This is how heavily people are relying on TikTok. And you have failed to recognize that. You can talk all about privacy, data. You have conditioned this generation, my generation especially, that our data is not private. You have conditioned us to think that the phone is listening at all times. So what value have you placed on us individually and our data individually? None. My friend and I have this running joke like, oh, I wonder which FBI agent, if you're listening to me, I'm joking.
Do you know how funny it is realizing that America shot themselves in the foot? If there's anything that I learned about this country against my will, it's that they are so scared to compete with the Chinese market. I mean, when I was first buying a car, I heard about the BYD Dolphin and I was like, that's exactly what I want, only to find out that I can't get any BYD cars because they compete with the American car market. But I needed a car. I got a Hyundai. Next, when I started to get fed up with my iPhone and I didn't want to upgrade, I found out about the Huawei phones. And I thought those things look super duper cute. Even if this is a totally new interface, I want to get a cute phone. And they had my favorite shade of purple, which Apple had yet to make. But no, I couldn't get it because it would be competing with the American market. So I just waited and eventually upgraded my phone for free. And then we get to TikTok. American government officials are blatantly displaying their xenophobia. American citizens are blatantly displaying their displeasure at the xenophobia. America takes 9 months to ban TikTok, which has no associations with the Chinese market. And the fed up American citizens move to the first Chinese app that looks like TikTok, that's based on a little red communist book.
As someone who has avid experience with brats, I can tell you right now that the entire United States of America just looked our government dead in the face and gave them the biggest middle finger that we could possibly think of. They sat there and lied to us, telling us that the entire reason that they were trying to take TikTok away from us is so that our data doesn't get to China. Our data, it's all about our data. So in order to stop that from happening, they try to ban TikTok so we don't give China our data anymore, when that's totally the reason why you want to take TikTok away from us. And genuinely, what is the brattiest fucking thing you could do in that situation? Flock to a separate app that is actually based completely in China, making it the #1 most downloaded app on the App Store. The government told all of us to stop, and we just said, make me. You're worried about China having our data, so you're going to take TikTok away from us? Okay, I'm going to go accept the terms and conditions on a Chinese app. I saw someone refer to it as dumping the digital tea into the harbor. But with that, there's a point that I need you to understand here. For us to do this, we didn't need to all go to a harbor, put ourselves in harm's way, and dump a whole bunch of physical shit into the harbor. All we all needed to do was download a different fucking app. And they 180'd like that. You are more powerful than you think. We are more powerful than we think, as long as we stick together. Bye.
Something so hilarious about the US government forcing Americans to realize that they live in the bad place and that China pities them. People on Rednote being like, oh, you guys can't afford groceries? That's insane. Oh my god, your MRI was $1,200? It shouldn't be that way, you guys. You guys are humans. You deserve rights. And Americans being like, they got a point. What the fuck? Like, it's actually insane that the American government pushed Americans into the hands of seeing that, oh my goodness, these people are nice and welcoming, more welcoming than the US government. What a backfire. Like, it's actually, you couldn't write this. You couldn't make this shit up. The most hilarious way to push Americans into the hands of, like, the great superpower that you're so afraid of is for them to just look at the people being nice to them and being like, oh, you guys deserve healthcare. You're humans. You should be able to afford groceries. Look at this grocery haul. We can actually afford food. This is what it's like to afford food. This is what it's like to afford your life. I feel bad for you guys over there. Like, it's actually insane. Pity, the main emotion to the people who've already been on Rednote being like, hi, TikTok refugees, I'm so sorry you live there. I'm so sorry you can't afford basic human needs. You deserve human rights. Like, they are trying to instill in Americans, like, you deserve human rights. Are you okay? You couldn't write this. You couldn't write a better reaction.
As a Chinese Asian American, okay, most of my family still lives back in mainland China, never in a million years did I think that Americans would make Xiaohongshu trend in the US, Rednote, okay? Second thing being, everyone going to Rednote and realizing, oh my gosh, the algorithm is fantastic. Wow, like, I scrolled on this for 10 minutes and now I'm basically getting served all English content and all of this. I love the algorithm. This is fantastic. You guys have to remember that China is a country that heavily emphasizes education. Because it's so populated, one of the only ways to really raise your family's social mobility is by getting educated, by being smart, and getting a well-paying job. That is like one of the only methods, which same thing goes when a country like the US, but really in China, education is heavily emphasized. I think it's hilarious that people in the US are starting to finally wake up and realize how behind we are. Because if you really look into China in terms of technology, the Huawei phones, even their electric cars, even their apps, their algorithms, you will start to realize that they are far more advanced than our country in terms of all of that. Why? Because they're smart, because they're educated. Now, let me just say, America, we have some of the best universities in the world. We have some extremely, extremely smart people. But in terms of the volume of intelligent people, why do you think Elon and Vivek are fighting tooth and nail for the HB1 visas? Because they know that in order for our country to compete against other countries, we kind of need to brain drain the other countries. Just like how those countries have been brain draining us. Think about how many international students from China come to this country every single year, come get a great education, and then they bring it back to China. At the end of the day, this is all just absolutely hilarious to me, and all of my cousins in China are texting me about it because they just think it's so funny that China has been quote unquote cut off from the rest of the world. And now we're infiltrating into their social medias and showing them the rest of the world. And they're just laughing. They're like, wow, how the tables have turned.
The past 24 hours of China news has been hitting. The fact that Americans are downloading Xiaohongshu or Little Rednote is incredible to me. This is a massive Chinese social media site, and the fact that we are like, hey guys, let's go learn some Mandarin. Let's go onto this platform. I just feel like I'm seeing so much openness from our generation to befriend China and not see them as the enemy. I feel our government officials are so quick to make anything Chinese negative. So I just feel so positive about our future working with China because it's our generation that is like, hey, can we turn a new corner and get to know each other?
Conversations that people are not having about Rednote is, what is this going to do to globalization? This is not the Silk Road. This is not the transatlantic triangular trade. This is not Europeans flocking in mass to the new world. This is different. This feels different. I'm telling you, it feels brand new. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I was considering moving to China just like 10 days ago. I was thinking about it. And I came to the conclusion, I don't want to move over there. Those people are not going to be cool. We're not going to be chill. Who am I going to hang out with? I don't want to move over there. And when I tell you, this situation has people learning Mandarin. Americans, the people that don't want to learn, and the people that cannot even point out Singapore on a map are learning Mandarin in 48 hours. The box is open. Pandora's box is open. All of China knows the tea. All of America knows the tea. Like, can you imagine what it's going to be like? This solidarity that has been created in the last 48 hours. This is